Welcome back, nerds. You got Justin from Me Nerdtainment here with AJ, as always. Where he is, there he is. From Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast. You got episode 4 of Two Nerds, One Podcast here. Today we are talking about the original trilogy from Star Wars. AJ, I'm excited. Are you excited?
Dude, I just finished Return of the Jedi maybe 25 minutes ago. Like I literally procrastinated like a
You did
mother
wait till the
this
last
week.
minute. I committed to having this released tomorrow, and you waited till the day to watch. It's all right. I just watched it this morning, but I really didn't need a I didn't need a rewatch. That was just for. It was an excuse to, like I said, pepper it in the shit that I've been watching lately. So it was nice.
Yeah, it was really nice getting back to them. My whole thing is that if I do it well in advance, I forget what I want to talk about because I don't take notes.
Yeah.
I should, do not.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So, I do have a couple things that I want to talk about. I'm sure that you have a couple things that you'd like to talk about, but let's start at the beginning. I want to, because you and I have completely different beginnings with this franchise. So I want you to take a minute and tell people how you were introduced to the franchise, you know, your first memory of watching Star Wars. Because for a lot of people, this is something that, you know, is the epitome of their childhood.
So I'm a little different than a lot of people my age. I'm 30, which usually means that the prequels were my first Star Wars. My father, when he worked at his, I guess, job when I was a kid, had a buddy who was really into Star Wars, and he's selling the VHS tapes. Gave them to my father for, you know, your kids, and gave them to me. And I remember sitting on his bed with my brother and chilling, watching the Star Wars movies. And I hate to say this. I hate to say this because it happened yesterday when I was explaining it. I had a kid ask me what VHS tapes were.
That hurts, man. That hurts.
Bitch, I'm 30.
It's like
I shouldn't feel that old.
It's this, bro. It's this. They exist.
Oh my God.
God. That's sad.
It is very sad. I felt very like my back started hurting, my knees started hurting.
I mean, homie, in like 5 years, like digital or physical media is going to be gone. They're already ramping it out. Like,
it sucks because I like having physical media.
Yeah, I'm collecting it as much as I can, but it's going to be gone soon. It's sad.
I watched 4, 5, and 6, and then I asked my father, "Why are these 4, 5, and 6?" And him not being a Star Wars fan, which was hilarious because he brought the movies home for us.
Right.
He goes, "I don't know." And then Net Zero was like, "Why episode 4?" I go, "Dad, there were 3 Star Wars movies." Wait, 4 came out in 77 and episode 1 came out in 99? I don't do drugs, but what?
wait. And for me, I didn't grow up with these movies at all, other than the little bit that I was exposed via my older cousins. They had all the badass toys. They, you know, you couldn't escape Star Wars. So I knew that Darth Vader was Luke's father. I knew all that cool stuff. I had seen most of the big moments, but I never sat down and watched the original trilogy until they announced episode 1. And yeah, like I remember seeing that trailer and being like, they showed Darth Maul, and I'm like, holy shit, what's going on here? And I got really intrigued by the premise, so I wanted to watch the other ones. I actually sat down and watched them and became pretty obsessed, and I made up for lost time. I promise you that. I've watched them a fair amount by this point.
Yeah, I've probably worn... I remember wearing out those VHSs, and I don't remember what... I want to say they were VHSs for the prequels too, but...
that might have been DVD time. I don't know. I mean, I remember, when did Titanic came out? Because I remember vividly owning the two cassette tape or 2 VHS tape Titanic. Wasn't that like 98?
I think it was 98.
Yeah, so it would have been around that same time. You might have. You damn sure might have had VHS prequels.
You're asking me to go back
That's
25
that time. I
years.
mean, brother, we have seen so much shit in our lifetime, and I know every old folk will be like, "You won't believe what I've seen," but I'm like, man, just in my life, I've went from no cell phones, no any of this shit, to I mean,
Mhm.
now you literally have a cell phone in your pocket that can give you any kind of information that you dream. You can look at anything. You can use it to look at cat memes if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
But anyway,
yeah, those are kind of fun, especially when you throw a cucumber behind them and they just right up. I
so
have anything you say, I probably have something for. So
you're probably fair. It's probably fair. So obviously, for the longest time, we only had the original three, and then when Disney took over Star Wars, bought all that shit, they've released two films since then that we decided to include in this discussion simply because of when they take place, right? So we are going
yeah,
to talk about Rogue One. We are going to talk about Solo. I'll give you, since you started with the original trilogy, I'll give you my opinion on both these movies quickly. I think that they're both hilariously underrated. More so Rogue One than Solo, but I don't think Solo's a bad film, man. I think the guy that they cast to play Solo, I forget his name, but I think he did a really good job. And I love Donald Glover as Lando. Emilia Clarke is great. Where they have Alan Tudyk plays the droid. The droid has some of the funniest lines in the movie. Um, but I just think the movie works really well. And then of course you have Vader at the end.
oh, of Alden Ehrenreich. I knew it,
Yeah,
knew it.
yeah,
I was like, it's there, just not pulling it for once.
yeah. He does a great job, serviceable
But
job again, in one of those roles that you can never fill the shoes. He does a good job.
you can believe he's Han Solo without him doing a parody of Harrison Ford.
Sure.
And that was my biggest part of Solo. He takes Han Solo's character, makes it his own, and adds to it without trying to be Harrison
Right.
Ford.
Right. It
I
feels
like Donald
natural.
Glover, Emilia Clarke, Tudyk, all fun. But I love Rogue One. I love the start of Rogue One where it's we need to succeed.
Yeah.
No matter what we do, we
Yeah.
need to succeed. And they do, and they still end up dead.
Yeah.
And then the end of Rogue One, if you do not go from Rogue One immediately into A New Hope,
Guilty. No, I mean that's what I
why are
did. Like that's what I did, obviously.
it literally if you can cut A New Hope, get rid of the crawl and everything, and just it literally
Yeah.
moves right over
Yeah. Yeah.
beautifully.
That's exactly what I did. As I watched Rogue One and then watched New Hope immediately after, and it was first time I had done that. The first time I'd watched those two back to back, and that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cool.
And I feel like that is the only way to do it because you better literally block out about 4 hours because you can't go from one and not watch the other.
It's good shit, especially given how far apart those two movies were made.
77 to 2017.
Something like that, yeah. Late teens for sure. But I think Solo was a fun romp. I liked seeing Darth
It
Maul
was.
again. Paul Bentley, and anytime you throw him in a movie, even in a forgettable character like Voss, it still works for me. I don't think he
I was
was.
waiting to see the Mind Stone
Yeah,
pop
for
out of his
sure,
head.
for sure. But Rogue One, I don't know where it falls in my ranking yet. I'll have to do a ranking of all the movies together, but it's
Oh,
going to
we
be
got to do
close
that
to the
next
top. It's
week.
going to be close. Yeah, you're going to need that next week. But it's
Oh,
going to be close to
spoiler
the
alert.
top. It's going to be close to the top for me. I know you told me you're quite fond of it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so
I love it very much.
yeah, it's a great movie, and for anybody watching that hasn't watched Rogue One because they're a purist or whatever, and they only watch the originals and such, give it a shot, man. Because even if you're only going to watch the original trilogy, this one
Mm-hmm.
is a worthy addition to that saga. It's like he said, it's perfection, man. It's a perfect prelude to part 4 if you're only going to watch those 3 movies. So give it a chance, honestly.
Yeah.
What is your ranking of all 5 movies? Did I
Oh
put you on the spot,
shit!
or are
You
you
put me
prepared
on
for
the
this?
spot there.
Boom! Great. I love it. Tell me your 5. Tell me. Start with number 5. What's the worst of the 5?
And by no means I mean this as it's a bad movie.
No, we're
It's
only talking
just
about 5 Star Wars movies. In my opinion, these are five of the best.
Solo at 5,
Okay, me too.
A New Hope 4,
Me too.
Return of the Jedi,
Me too. Quit it.
Rogue
Me,
Rogue One,
me
and then
too.
Empire.
Fuck, man. Okay, let's not argue one bit because that's my top. That's my five. That's my
There's
five.
like we
We never do that. Even Spider-Man, we didn't do that.
what the hell?
Yeah, but that's my five: Solo, New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Rogue One, and then Empire. And I just rewatched all these movies this week just to shore that up, and that's still my ranking again. And I think all five of these in the grand scope are going to be close to the top anyway. Again, I'm going to throw a couple of randoms in there. I like The Force Awakens, and I like Revenge of the Sith. But other than that, that's about the top five. You know what I mean? Like it'll be interesting to see where we end up falling. But that's knowing that the base of our list is so similar. That's
That's
that,
scary.
that's not scary, man. Star Wars is, in my opinion, and I'm a big Star Wars fan, a series of high highs and low lows. When they miss, they fucking miss, and it's because they're aiming so high. They have so
It's the
many people.
Christmas special.
Well, the fucking CGI American Idol shit in Return of the Jedi that they added in the special edition. Like what the
Yeah.
like they when they fuck up bad, you know. But when they nail it, you're talking groundbreaking, generational, never been seen before type shit. So
Like a lot of the stuff on Hoth with the AT-ATs, and when we first see Emperor Palpatine when he gets off his ship and there's lines upon lines of stormtroopers and officers,
mhm,
that's all action figures to scale. The only thing they put in was Vader, Palpatine, and his guard.
it's
That was
amazing, isn't
it.
it?
Everything else is scaled.
Let
Same
me
thing with the AT-ATs. They're all like
models.
scaled
Yeah.
down and like move it, take a picture, move it, take it. And you could see the stop motion when it
Yeah.
happens. And it does date the movie, but it shows how much they
I'm
put in that movie.
I am a stop motion mark. Like I geek out anytime I see it. I appreciate the art of it, and for me, I know it doesn't look great anymore, but like you said, I appreciate the effort that went into making those scenes look as good as they do. Freaking beautiful, man.
It,
Beautiful work
so
all
good.
around from for the entire saga. What was I gonna say? Oh, I wanted to ask you. I was thinking about this when I was watching Return of the Jedi today. Which opening do you like better? The opening to New Hope, or what I would think you're gonna pick either the opening to Empire or opening to Return of the Jedi. So, do you like the Hoth sequences? Do you like Jabba's palace? Or do you
So,
like all of the shit on the ship where
so
Darth
I don't,
Vader storms Leia's ship?
I don't know if you've ever seen epic rap battles of history on YouTube.
No, can't say I have.
It's hilarious. And there's a 3-part segment with Darth Vader and Adolf Hitler.
Okay,
And it's epic rap battles. They're hilarious. Funny as heck. Go check them out.
I'll have to
Um,
do that for sure.
but I'd have to go with Jabba's Palace. You know, while I did do a college report on the opening of A
Empire.
New Hope,
Oh, okay.
um, but I got to do Jabba's Palace because it shows how far. Like we talked weeks ago that the Joker has some crazy. He knows everything that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Emperor Palpatine, same thing. Luke has it too.
Yeah.
He planned all that
Oh, hell yeah.
and it worked
Hell yeah.
to a
Luke,
T.
I adore, and I'm actually not a fan of the opening of Empire. I don't really like the stuff on Hoth. It kind of bores me a little bit.
It drags.
It does. It does. And I know, hang me up, string me up. I'm sorry. I can hear them coming for me already in the comments. But it's just I like everything after that so much that Empire is still my favorite. But I love the opening to Return of the Jedi. I think it also shows how far Luke's come because, like you said, it's his plan. But him coming from, just a cocky, cocksure teenager who thinks he knows everything, thinks he can do everything, and gets by on latent force ability, to somebody who has mastered it, and he walks in there in a place where who else could walk into Jabba's palace and not be killed immediately? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just fucking owns it. And I love his kind of presence, Jedi Master, whatever you want to call him, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. We don't get him a lot, but I enjoy what we do get, especially in the beginning.
Well, congratulations. You picked five.
What's that?
You picked five tonight.
I pick five.
You picked
Okay.
five. I picked nine.
Shit, I'm okay with that. Right smack in the middle.
Yeah.
All right, I'm okay with that. Sidebar: fantasy football draft tonight. We're doing that live stream. That'll be tomorrow. Yeah, because you'll be watching this on Friday.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So go back and watch
Go
it.
back and watch it. It'll be on our channels. We're gonna be
It
drunk.
just popped up on mine, and I was like, "Ooh, what is this?"
Yeah. Okay, I'm actually kind of excited about drafting fifth. Anyway, any hooser. What else do we need to talk about? Lightsaber duels. Again, this one probably isn't as difficult as the prequels, because the prequels have some of the best. This
Yes.
series does too, but I think it's pretty clear cut. For me, I like. Well, actually, you know what? I'll let you go first, because maybe I'm wrong.
So there's a couple things that add to why this is my favorite, and a lot of it to Darth Vader tells Luke, Obi-Wan has taught you well, and when he says that, Darth Vader's down here, Luke is all the way up here, and I go, it's a high ground. It's the high ground.
I like the parallel between, when they start their duel in Empire and Vader hucks him down the steps and then flies down like all gracefully. Return of the Jedi is the exact opposite. Fucking Luke chucks him down the steps, and that's when that happens.
Obi-Wan has taught
Exactly.
you well.
So, yeah, for me, Return of the Jedi is the better of the two duels.
I will say, to start with Empire, Luke gets a shot in right to Vader's shoulder or arm.
Yeah.
And you see Vader get pissed, and he just starts hacking, swinging, cutting.
Well, he actually
everything.
I'm pretty sure, again, I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive you're right, but you're wrong, because immediately after he gets struck, he ends the fucking duel. Which shows that he was toying with him the entire time. I don't even think he hacks and slashes. I think he literally disarms him and then cuts his fucking hand off. I believe it's almost in like one fail swoop.
He cuts the section off, like the pillar off.
Oh yeah, you're right. He takes that one fucking big swipe. You're right, and then he fucking gets him twirly. Bye arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's over.
And then,
as soon as he pisses him off, the fight's fucking over. It's over.
And then the callback back to Return of the Jedi, when he starts talking about you have a sister.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And then Luke comes out, no.
Yeah.
And then you see him start going bang, bang.
And that's what
bang.
sets it off for me. The ending right there. You just hit the nail on the head. Luke's rage, Luke's final assault on Vader, where he just overpowers him, is amazing.
And he does something that Anakin Skywalker couldn't. He felt the rage and was still, I'm not joining you.
Right, in control.
I will never join you.
And is that what Mace Windu is able to do to an extent? Is that what makes him so great of a duelist?
I think so.
Doesn't he toe the line especially with the form he uses?
And I think that's why he has a purple saber.
Yeah,
blue and red.
Right.
He knows to control both.
Right. He fights very aggressively. He kind of uses that anger, but is able to control it. And there's a lesson there. Is anger's not a bad thing. It's when you let your anger get the best of you.
It's how you use it.
It's exactly. I mean, I feel the same way about fear. It's not unnatural to be afraid. He felt great fear when he went to fight Vader, but he was able to keep it in check, not let that fear drive him to do something stupid like Anakin did. Mm-hmm. And again, we've already talked about that. Whether we feel like it's earned or not, Anakin let his fear drive him from being a normal kind of bitchy person to a fucking child killer. So
yeah.
Yep. It is what it is. But
I think with what Luke was able to go through it shows how much of the chosen one that they called Anakin, but I think they called Anakin that because he needed to go his path to then make the chosen
To
one.
side. Okay, so that was something I was going to ask you, and you've already answered it. So Luke's the chosen one.
I would take a huge bet on they meant Anakin, but they really meant Luke.
Yeah, you're going to sire the chosen one. You have to go on your
Yeah,
path.
yeah, I really think that's what it is,
Yeah,
100%. And you hear Obi-Wan in the prequels say you were supposed to defeat the Sith, not join
yeah.
them.
Well, I mean, is that Sidious? Was it gonna be Anakin, and then Sidious fucked it up, and then the Force corrects itself by making Luke
And I think
redeem his
that's what
father?
Star Wars does. I think Star Wars, no matter what, it will correct itself.
Right,
If it gets out of balance, it will figure out
right.
how to get it
So
back
is
to
that the
where.
story? I think that's the story right there. Is it was all working according to plan, But then again, who did we talk about this in the last video? I can't remember. Who sired Anakin? Like, did we talk about who his father was? Theories on
No,
that?
I'm
Because I've
pretty
heard
sure Jesus Christ did it.
I've heard theories that it was Palpatine, you know, experimenting with some fucked up shit and
Like
using
with what he does with oh my god, what's his name in the sequels?
with Driver
Oh
with
no, shit, what's his name? Fuck.
you'll get it.
Um,
It's gonna pop in your
I,
head.
I it is gonna pop into my head. It's played by Andy Serkis. He's played by Andy Serkis, the bad guy in 7, 8, and 9.
Oh, Snoke.
Yes. Do you think that was like his first iteration
I think
with?
I've heard rumors again. I don't know the source. I wish I could quote the source, but I remember looking into that and reading something about Palpatine experimenting with midi-chlorians and trying to create life, probably for his own accord.
Oh shit!
And
That
he accidentally impregnated, Shmi or whatever her name was, Anakin's mother,
yeah.
and that's how he knows about him, immediately. Because if you believe
I
that he
mean,
had all this shit planned, he didn't just stumble upon Anakin. Oopsie daisy, here's the fucking chosen one. He knew about him being there all along and
holy
everything,
shit!
So again, I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I remember reading about that and thinking that it was interesting that Palpatine was
Well, in a
actually,
way, it makes
yeah,
sense. In a way, it does make sense because what does he say to Anakin? Have you ever heard the tragedy of
Darth
Darth?
Plagueis, yeah. And that's what I read, is that those two together were fucking with, like, making life, creating life. Him and his master Darth Plagueis. This is before he kills him.
And
And they accidentally create Anakin. I
and the
remember
path
reading, and I was like,
and
damn, that's intriguing.
the path to the dark side is what people would consider
Yeah,
unnatural,
yeah. Well, there
something
you
like
go.
that.
There you go.
And
I mean, how many times does he have to lay out his plan right in front of you before we see it?
yeah, no shit.
So,
No, holy crap, Justin, you literally just blew my mind with that. Like,
you're
I
welcome.
thought you were like talking like this is stupid. Like, why is he saying this? And then it literally was like,
What?
the minute you really got through those first couple sentences, I was like, okay, he's starting to make sense. This is not good. It's changing my whole freaking outlook of what just happened with Anakin.
You're like, what? Emperor Palpatine is his father? You talking he mounted and raw dog Shmi? What that? No. He's still Jesus Christ. It's just some
With the
weird. It's
midichlorians.
just exactly. So it's just something I remember. Again,
Holy
I
crap,
sure as shit
dude.
didn't come up with that. I'm not smart enough to come up with that. Somebody else did. But I read it and thought it was kind of neat. So there you go, guys. Welcome Star Wars to that little tidbit of debate we can have from now on.
Sounds like a fan fiction somebody
I
probably
mean,
wrote.
one other thing I wanted to bring up, and again, it just kind of made me laugh. After Luke gets his hand chopped off in Empire and falls all the way down into the pit and goes into the little tube thingy,
Yep.
I kind of watched that happen. I was like, okay, so he had to control his descent somehow, right? There's no fucking way that was a 1 in a million crapshoot. Oh, he just luckily fell into that pipe. Whether it was consciously or subconsciously, he used the Force to guide himself. Kind of probably the same way he shot that shot at the end of the movie, New Hope. He
Yeah,
used the force,
I
kind of
see.
controlled himself in
I
that.
want to use that he wasn't in full control of his force powers yet. So I want to say he tried to use it, but it's a trash chute. How does trash get through that hole? It opens an airlock and it sucks it through.
Okay, fair
Maybe
enough.
it just
Is that what that was? That was a trash chute that he fell down?
that's what it looks like.
Okay.
Could, hey George, watch this. Let us know, please.
Hey, let me
Or
know, brother.
anybody who
All
actually
I was
knows,
gonna
down in the
do
comments section.
was defend their stupid Leia using the Force to fly scenario, because I was like, if Luke could do it, then maybe it
No.
makes a little bit of sense that Leia could do it too, even though that's one of the worst scenes I've ever seen. So I'm not going to defend it anymore. I'm just going to move on. But that's all I was going to say.
See, I find it hilarious watching that when I did, realizing, oh, she's got force powers, and then everybody in the world blowing up when they realized she had force powers in 8. Like, what the hell? We knew this. We knew she had it.
We saw it. We saw her
Why
do
is
it.
everybody so surprised?
Right. We saw her do it. So I was just defending that decision, because I'm like, shit, man, if Luke can control himself midair, I mean, that's an extreme example. She literally chokes the door and pulls herself in while she's dying.
Yeah, no,
But anyway,
no kidding.
we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
Do
We'll
you
talk
have
about it
anything
next
else
week.
you want to talk about tonight, brother? I mean, I feel like we've covered most of it.
What was your favorite arc?
Of
Because there were
this,
multiple arcs in the original trilogy. You have the
I
Luke and
like.
Vader, Han and Leia, Lando coming into it, and how he's, I'm with the Empire. I really don't like the
Yeah.
Empire, but kind of had to deal with it. Like, whose arc did you like the best?
Probably Hans, because he's my favorite character of the original trilogy, even more.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think that his journey from self-fulfilling smuggler who only cares about himself and money to literal like general of the rebellion and laying his life on the line multiple times for people, and he has some of the best moments. I mean, when he lures the troopers out of the base and then gives them the old, I fucking love that movement every time. So
It reminds me of freaking Indiana Jones.
yeah, he's
But
so
same guy, but
dude was so cool. So cool. Harrison Ford in the 70s and 80s was the epitome of cool. I love that dude's swagger. So yeah,
so
he would be
another
my
thing I
choice.
want to bring up, because it doesn't piss me off, but it pisses me off. So a Force Ghost, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end, you see Vader, helmet off, dies.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Why does he come back as Hayden Christensen?
The only reason I can come up with, because I thought the same thing would happen, was because that was the last time he was on the good side of the Force. So it reverts him back to when Anakin Skywalker died.
And let me phrase this again. Is he redeemed? When he shows up as a Force Ghost, is
That's what they're saying. Whether you agree with it or not, it almost has to be
how
that.
is that motherfucker redeemed after killing how many people in that Jedi temple?
He's not. He's not.
Uh-uh.
He's not redeemed.
Nuh-uh.
But that's their way of having their cake and eating it too. They don't have to actually redeem him. They're just like, feel this. It's
that
emotional.
shit pulled me straight out of the movie.
Yeah.
Straight out of the movie. And especially seeing what we saw in the prequels and then coming back and watching it again, I'm like, that is fucking stupid.
Child murderer. Come on.
And now I'm standing with Obi-Wan Kenobi,
right,
and Yoda, and I'm just.
You think that's why they don't address him? They're like, what the fuck is this guy doing here?
Like, if they really wanted to go for a moment, I would have had Yoda and Obi-Wan just
side shuffle out and be like, we're not with him. No, thank you.
Just like, I like Hayden Christensen. I just don't think they should have edited it to have him in the original trilogy.
No, it didn't make sense.
Just like I saw it and I'm like,
it's cringe.
I forgot that was
cringeworthy now. Yeah, I mean, again, I just watched it today and I was like, fuck, how am I going to justify that? Because I know AJ's going to ask me. I knew you were going to ask me. And I was like, I got to come up with something just to play devil's advocate. And that's the only thing I come up with.
Cool Star Wars t-shirt and everything.
That is
was
dope.
Looking for my other one, and it's literally Endor, and it's a stormtrooper with a text bubble that says, why are those trees talking, teddy bear?
You know Grogu's face is gone because it's green.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I see it on my end.
On my screen is gone.
That's kind of funny.
Little Grogu's got a transparent face. He learned a new Jedi power.
The Miles Morales power.
That's dope as hell. Anything
All
else you
right,
want to
brother.
hit up, buddy?
No, I'm all good. I've really enjoyed coming back into talking the Star Wars trilogy,
Me too.
and I'm really excited for next week.
Next week we get to talk the sequel trilogies, and then we'll also do our grand finale ranking of the movies and the lightsaber fights. We'll at least do a
I'm
top
going to
five
piss
lightsaber
so many
fights.
people off with what
Yeah,
I have to
that's
say.
pretty much the plan. So, but anyway, thank you all for watching. Again, this has been Two Nerds, One Podcast. You got Justin from Entertainment and my boy AJ from Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast joining me as always. Thank you, AJ. It's always a pleasure. And
Dude,
I'll
I can't
see
wait for
you.
next week because I'm gonna piss so many people off.
Yeah, tune in for that shit, guys. I'll see you in like 30 minutes for a fantasy football draft, bud.
Absolutely.
Peace out,
Can't
y'all.
wait.